Everyone thinks that founding a startup is going to require you to have a computing background or a technical co-founder. Today, I'm going to show you why you don't need any of those. I'm going to build a real MVP for a marketplace business. In my case, it's going to be connecting Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coaches to students looking for private lessons. I'm going to build this as quickly as possible using a tool called Framer. There's not going to be any code, there's not going to be any big designs, there's just going to be some good strategy to get this done well and without getting caught up in all the distractions. I want to show you that your lack of technical skills is not what's holding you back here. This is not going to be a click-by-click tutorial. I'm going to move fast because I want to show you the strategy, not bore you with a software manual. Today is about the vision and understanding what you can do in a very short period of time. Normally when you start, this is where the panic sets in. You're staring at that blank screen, trying to work out what the hell you need to say, what colors it should be, what images you should use, and everything gets a bit much. Here's the secret. Today we are not going to design anything, we're going to assemble it. Because all of the tricky stuff has already kind of been solved for you, you just need to know how to put it together quickly. If you've already got designs in Figma, you can import them in. But for today, I'm going to assume that you have no design skills whatsoever and cannot be bothered learning Figma, which is quite fair. So I'm going to start from scratch. Let's start with the structure of the page. Now, a white screen can be very daunting. So I like to use wireframer. So you go quick actions, wireframer, and as you can see, this is your standard AI conversational input. I'm just going to ask it to build me a landing page. Let's see what it comes up with. Right away you can see it's built out this page with a fairly decent layout with a hero section, some features of the product, and a call to action at the bottom. Now my call to action is a form to fill out, so I'm just going to update that. What I basically did is chatted back and forth with it for a bit until I got something close to what I wanted. The longer I talked to it, the worse the designs got. The AI isn't a senior designer, it's just a layout tool. Don't argue with it, take what you get and just move on. The good thing about this wireframer is that it's actually mapped out all the different sizes. So it'll build out the website, but it will also appear nicely on different screen sizes, and you don't need to think about that. I'm going to go through now and make some changes. It doesn't matter what your business is, you're going to need 3 things on your landing page. You're going to need a value prop, some social proof, and a call to action. So I'm just going to drag these straight in. If I was coding this, I'd have to spend quite a bit of time doing it, whereas I can just drag it straight in and it's going to be all coded up in my finished product. All right, I've spent about 10 minutes playing around with this and I have a layout that I'm pretty happy with. Next thing I'm going to do is go through and update the content because it took a decent stab at it, but there's a lot of things I want to fix. The first thing I want to fix is the name, because Grappler is such a boring name. I haven't settled on a public name yet. For now, the project is called Toddler Fight Club because we're essentially getting grown men wearing pajamas to try and organize themselves. And if you're a parent, you know exactly what that's like. By the way, if you're building a tech startup and you don't have a coding background, you're in the right place. I make content specifically for non-technical founders who want to use their talents and expertise in other parts of life to build a successful tech business. If that's you, hit subscribe and we can build this business together. Next up is the social proof. So Wireframer's added some copy that looks like a testimonial, but I'm not comfortable with that. I know a lot of people at this point are tempted to use a fake testimonial. Don't do that. A really nice version of social proof is to actually do interviews with people experiencing the problem rather than any sort of testimony that they're actually using your product. They're talking about the problem, and that's a really good way to connect to customers. Now in this instance, I'm going to do something a bit different because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community has a lot of in-jokes and it doesn't take itself very seriously. So I've texted one of my black belt friends who's a coach and asked him to send me something dumb I can use on this website. And he has not disappointed. What he's come back with is, I have a sea of white belts I need to now raise. The bank is happy, but my mental well-being is not. It's a great app if I could have a filter added for how bad a student is, just so I can refuse their entry. That would be great. So that's perfect. I'm going to use that. Any jiu-jitsu coach who's looking at that will feel a connection to that statement right away. All right, so I've just quickly gone through and updated the content whenever anything was wrong. But now the website still looks super boring because it is just a template. So let's start to add these branding elements in. So in this case, it's martial arts. So I want it to feel a little bit gritty, but also clean. I'm not trying to win any design awards. I'm not trying to be the most creative person in the world. I'm just grabbing a few things that feel right and just throwing them on the page. And if you're not an experienced designer, the best thing you can do is be consistent. The problem new designers hit all the time is they try and make everything unique and customized, and then it just looks like an absolute dog's breakfast. We're not going to do that today because that takes longer and has a worse result. Now we've got it to a point where it looks pretty decent, but it doesn't work as a business. So we now need to do the thing that makes it an MVP. With this idea, I could have spent a month building an entire marketplace tool where people are automatically matched and can search profiles. But the thing is, I haven't tested if anyone wants this, and I have no one who's going to create their profiles. If you went to a marketplace site and there was nobody on there, or worse, fake people on there, you wouldn't use it. So for this website, the best thing I can do is just collect real people, genuine students and genuine coaches to fill out a form about what they want. I will manually match those people together. While I'm doing that, that will give me the content I need to start that marketplace. So when the full version of the site goes live, if there's enough demand to justify it, I can just populate all this data in there and the profiles are ready to go. A developer might tell you that you need to spend a whole bunch of money or time building out something. And the reality is, when an idea is this fresh, you absolutely do not. What we're going to do instead is take this form and connect it straight to a Google Sheet. Just fill out the form, populate the fields in a spreadsheet. When someone fills this out, I'm going to get an email. If I have anyone matched, I'll let them know. It's a manual process, but I'm not expecting an influx of thousands of people suddenly wanting jiu-jitsu lessons. If I do get thousands of people, that's really good validation, and I'm going to build the website real quick so I don't have to manually deal with that. Alright, so now what I've done is I have wired up those forms to a Google Sheet. I have double checked all my spelling and just made sure the website looks good. In full transparency, in real world time, tweaking this layout took me about an hour, hour and a half. You could probably do it faster, you could definitely take longer. But the point is, this is the kind of thing that you should be able to knock out in a day if you stay clear on what you're trying to achieve. Now we need to publish it. Now here's my last expert tip. If you're not just a little bit embarrassed, then you've probably waited too long to release it to the wild. I'm looking at the site and there's things on there that I'd love to change. I could have spent 3 days brainstorming a better name than Toddler Fight Club, but better doesn't ship, done ships, and I quite like it, so it's going to stay in. So I'm going to hit publish, and then if I pull it up on my phone, there we go, live on the phone. How good is that? This is a live URL. I can text this around right now, and you know what? I'm going to do it. Stop using I can't code as an excuse. Just go off, build something ugly, get it out in the world and see what happens. Also, hit subscribe so you don't miss next week where I'll be talking about other ways to validate your idea before you've wasted your time and money. I'll see you next week.